Hey, what's up guys, it's Apollo Uchiha here, back with a new series. The name of this series is What If Naruto Was Raised by Jiraiya and Tsunade. And yeah guys, this is going to be a new series on this channel, and it's going to be a long one. And if you haven't, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. And without further ado, let's begin our new series. Our story begins as we see Jiraiya stood in front of the gates of Konoha, contemplating the place that it had been his home for such a long time. That's it until Orochimaru's betrayal and Tsunade's self-imposed exile made it unbearable for the toad sage to continue living there. He never had a permanent home from that moment onwards, hopping from one town to another, doing his research and having one-night stands with easy, beautiful women. He only returned sporadically to pay a visit to his student and friend, Minato Namikaze. It has been 3 months since the last visit. They talked about Jiraiya's failed book, The Tale of the Gutsy Ninja, and how Minato wanted to name his firstborn son after the main character of the said book, Naruto. In the meantime, Jiraiya wrote his first erotic novel, Icha Icha Paradise, which became a bestseller in no time, and gorging his already large bank account. He had been planning to drop by once the kid was born in order to give the newborn some of his nice gift. In fact, he was on his way to Konoha when a courier ninja arrived and told him about the tragic news and that his presence was required in the village. Upon reading the letter with all the details, at first he thought it was some sort of tasteless joke, but the letter he was carrying had the stamp of the Hokage office. And now, just as he stood in front of the gates, he realized it wasn't a joke, as he had secretly hoped it was. From the outside, even Jiraiya could tell that Konoha had been a victim of devastating attack recently, which was confirmed the moment the Toad Sage walked into the village. The streets were nearly empty, destroyed buildings left and right, trail of smokes coming everywhere. The grey sky appeared to reflect the sober and depressing mood in the village seemed to be in. Jiraiya hurried towards the tower, Hokage Tower. Hiruzen Sarutobi was in his former soon-to-be his once-again office as he absent-mindedly looked through the window, laminating the current state of Konoha. An Anbu appeared behind him. Hokage-sama, Jiraiya-sama is here, as he requested. The Anbu announced. The third turned around and sighed. Tell him to come in, please. As you say, the Anbu said before disappearing in a small cloud of smoke. A few seconds later, the white-haired Sanin walked into the office. Hiruzen couldn't help but smile a little upon seeing his old student. Hello, Jiraiya. It's good to see you again, even if it is under such awful circumstances. How are you doing, and how was your trip here? Hiruzen said as he sat down on his chair. Not to be rude, but that matters for a little now. It's that true, Sensei? Are Minato and Kushina truly dead? Jiraiya asked, trying to suppress his agonish of his voice. Yes, Jiraiya, they are. Jiraiya averted Sarutobi's gaze, sighing and whispering a profanity. He looked at his former sensei once again and asked, May I see the bodies? You may, but not now. They are urgent matters we must attend first before you can pay respect to your student and his wife, Hiruzen gravely said. Matters that concern their son. Their son? Where is Naruto now? Is he okay? Jiraiya asked worriedly. Naruto is fine. He's possibly one of the few peoples who came out of this unscratched, Hiruzen said. I don't know if I call having a demon sealed inside him unscratched, Sensei, Jiraiya pointed out. Naruto mentioned that kid just lost his parents. True. Excuse my lack of tact, and to answer your first question, he's downstairs, on the lower levels. A couple medical ninjas are taking care of him. Now, Naruto was the reason I called you here, because I'm his godfather. Jiraiya said, exactly. According to Minato and Kushina's will, they left everything to Naruto, all their physical assets, such as their house and other properties, as well as all their liquid assets, which will be managed by his legal guardian until Naruto comes of age. And according to their will, this person is you. I see. An uncomfortable silence followed Jiraiya's laconic answer. So, do I suppose that you're up to become Naruto's legal guardian, Jiraiya, and raise him until he's 18, regardless of Minato's will? We can assign another legal guardian if you refuse. Jiraiya found the offer tempting. He had decided a long time ago that he would never settle down, that he would throw himself to the pleasures of life, to wander the world and enjoy it as much as possible. Taking care of a baby would make such things impossible. He needed to stay at a permanent place, more likely Konoha, since neither Sensei nor the elders would allow the QB out of the village. for other nations to take it, and had to prioritize Naruto's needs and well-being over everything else. No, the perspective of becoming a single father was everything but alluring. But then again, if he didn't take care of Naruto, who will? Almost nobody in the village would want to be near Naruto after the Kyuubi's rampage out of fear, and he knew that other people would try to turn him into a weapon, depriving him of a normal childhood. No, he had a moral responsibility towards Naruto. Nobody else would want to take it in their hands and take care of Naruto and raise him like a normal child but him. Jiraiya soon would learn how wrong he was. He was about to give his sensei an answer when shouts from outside the office drew both men's attention. "Miss, I'm sorry, but Hokage-sama is in a meeting. You can't disturb him now," a male voice said, which Jiraiya voicedly recognized as the Anbu that he was talking to. "Do you know who I am? I'm sure that sensei will make it for time for one of his old students," a female voice angrily replied, a voice Jiraiya knew too well. "Oh my, I didn't expect her to come here so soon. Or to come at all," Sarutobi asked, visibly worried. "What is she doing here?" Jiraiya asked, equally worried. "You see, Hokage-sama's guest is also another one of his old students and—" "What? Get out of my way!" Boom! Jiraiya and Sarutobi winced, and they both hoped that the poor Anbu wasn't too hurt. The office door slammed open, and a big-breasted blonde bursted in. She fixed her eyes on Jiraiya and snarled. She then looked at Sarutobi with rage in her eyes. "Oh, Kami, I knew it. You're going to do it. Tsunade, harming my Anbu and breaking into my office like that is not appropriate thing to do, you know." Sarutobi said calmly. "Oh, can it, Sensei? I came here to stop you from making a huge mistake," Tsunade said angrily. "And that mistake would be leaving a child under the care of this maniac," Tsunade said, pointing at Jiraiya. "I'm fine, Tsunade Hime. Thanks for asking," the Tosei said in a deadpan voice, earning another glare from his former teammate. "I see. I suppose that you have a better candidate in mind," Sarutobi said, intrigued. "You are damn right. I myself would take care and would be a much better caretaker for him than this smut writer." "That's fine, but you don't have any legal base for claiming Naruto's guardianship. I am his godfather, and Minato left Naruto under my care should something happen to him and Kushina," Jiraiya retorted. "Yes, I have. Naruto's my family." "Yeah, sure, and I am the grandson of the Sage of the Six Paths." "It's true, you moron. Kushina was an Uzumaki, just like me to my grandmother. I am Naruto's only family, and thus I have a greater claim to be his grand guardian than you. Well, I admit I am no expert when it comes to parenthood. I'm pretty sure that taking care of baby costs money, lots and lots of money. And last time I checked, you were haunted by quite a few creditors. I'm aware that Minato had quite some money on his bank account. I can use that to cover Naruto's expenses." "Yeah, if you do that and don't blow on a casino again," Jiraiya said angrily and turned to his former sensei. "Sensei, you can't seriously leave Naruto under this compulsive gambler. I do have experience raising children. I've been raising Shizune since she was a little girl, and she turned out fine," Tsunade said before Sarutobi could answer. "Even with my flaws, there are no way I can't be worse than Jiraiya." "Alright, I heard enough," Hiruzen said, raising his voice and slamming his head on the desk to make his former students to shut up. "Both of you have good points, and I'm sure we can reach a compromise." "What kind of compromise?" asked Tsunade. "Shared custody? Not exactly. It's obvious that you want what's best for Naruto. So why don't you raise him together? You can cover each other's weaknesses, and I'm sure that Naruto will benefit better if he has both of you taking care of him instead of just one of you. But that means that we'll have to live together," Jiraiya said. He didn't like where this was going. "Yes, of course. But we're not a couple. What the hell are we supposed to do? Pretend that we're a happy marriage for Naruto's sake?" Tsunade protested. "You don't have to pretend anything. If it put to your mind at ease, think of each other as being roommates with a couple common interests or teammate fulfilling a long-term mission," Hiruzen said, hoping his solution would appeal the Sanin. "I don't know if this little meeting didn't made it obvious enough, but Tsunade Hime and I aren't exactly on friendly terms," Jiraiya mentioned. "Yeah, I saw, but there was a time in which you'd take a kunai to the gut for the other. I'll have faith you'll mend your relationship, at least for Naruto's sake, I hope," Sarutobi said. "It's not that easy, Sensei," Tsunade said. Hiruzen sighed heavily. "I never said it was easy. Listen, I've been aware of the lives you have been living after you left Konoha, and frankly you had me worried. For what I could see, all what you did is try to run away from your personal demons, indulging in superficial pleasures for shallow comfort. but I can tell that neither of you have been happy, regardless of how much you might try to deny it. We all have lost someone dear to us. I myself lost my beloved wife and many old friends to the QB a few days ago. Yet here I am, taking the mentality of the Hokage once again. I'm not saying that we're all the same, or that you shouldn't deal with the grief, but how long has it been since both of you last left? 6 years? Maybe more. I think it's about time you two start to move on. You can think of this as an opportunity, a new fresh start, a chance to do something great. Don't you think it's about time to stop wandering around the world aimlessly wasting your lives in vain pleasures and start doing something productive with your lives again? Both of you want to take care of Naruto. If that's the case, show me that you're worth him. Show me that you're able to not let your demons to get in the way of rekindling your friendship. Show me that the great and powerful Sanin, the ninja I helped to shape, are still there instead of the gambler and the pervert before me. A deafening silence followed Sarutobi's speech. Both Sanin wanted to reply, but they were just unable to. They couldn't find the right words. Any words, they glanced at each other, hoping that the other would have a clever reply that would get him out of it and of admitting that their sensei was right, but there was none. Jiraiya sighed in defeat. There was no way out of this. Okay, I'm willing to raise Naruto together. What do you say, Hime? Tsunade had calmed down a bit and looked just as pensive as Jiraiya. Alright, if this is what I have to do, so I can be with my only family. But don't dare to go get any ideas. Understood? Tsunade said, pointing an accusatory finger at him. Jiraiya raised his hand in defense. Hey, I didn't say anything. Yet at least. And you'll see that I can be a perfect gentleman when I want to be. You better be. For your hope. That settled it, Sarutobi said, visibly satisfied as he stood up from his desk. Now, would you like to see Naruto now? They didn't need to answer. Sarutobi guiding his two former students to a room in the lower level, in which a teen girl was being instructed by one of the Marignin's how to hold a baby Naruto. At the girl's feet there was a small pig, wearing a maroon jacket and a pearl necklace. I see that you're getting to know Naruto, Shizune, Tsunade said when she saw her apprentice. Oh, Tsunade-sama, did you get Naruto's custody? Shizune said, smiling at her. Yeah, more or less. Tsunade replied, more or less? What does that mean? I got a joint custody with Jiraiya over here, Tsunade said as he motioned to her fellow Sanin. We will be living together from now onwards. Oh, you're Jiraiya-sama, the teen girl asked. I'm so glad to meet you. Tsunade-sama told me a lot about you. Shizune! Tsunade shouted. Really? That's nice to hear. And exactly what did she say about me? She asked with a perverted grin. Wipe that grin from your face, you pervert. The first thing we're going to do once we settle down is to establish a series of rules to make sure we have a tolerable coexistence. You got that? Of course, Hime. You know I'd hate to do something to get on your bad side. That's good to hear. So, shall we move to Minato's old house, I presume? Actually, I don't think that's a good idea, Hiruzen intervened. Come again? You see, Minato had a lot of enemies that would love to get revenge on him through his son or through anyone other close to him. So I believe that we should keep Naruto's existence as well as his parentage and his condition as a jinchuriki a secret outside walls of Konoha. That's why I think we should sell all of Minato's and Kushina's property and use the money to buy a new house for the four of you to live in. Also, I think that we should give Naruto his mother's last name instead. But Sensei, Naruto has the right to know who his parents are. We make a disservice to Minato and Kushina's memory. Jiraiya calmly protested. I guess you got a point there, Jiraiya. Alright. For the time being, you can tell Naruto that his parents were powerful ninjas who died the night the QB attacked, but keeps their name a secret for the time being. Same goes with the QB. Sorry, Sensei, but I have to disagree there as well. You simply can't keep such a thing a secret for him, especially since the rest of the village knows about that already. Jiraiya protested once again. It's for his own protection, Jiraiya. How being ignorant to the incredibly dangerous being inside him is going to protect him? Exactly. I don't get it. Jiraiya didn't bother to hide his skepticism. Listen, I want Naruto to have a normal childhood. Normal life. That's what his parents would have wanted. Naruto carries a heavy burden on his shoulders, but he should have been aware of it yet. That's why I'm going to enact a law in order to forbid the Kyuubi from being even mentioned by either the ninja or civilian under penalty of immediately execution. Let me tell you why that's an monumentally stupid idea, Jiraiya replied. Saradabi couldn't help but feel outraged at Jiraiya's bluntness. Your solution amounts to ignore the Kyuubi. We can't ignore it, but that wouldn't make the Kyuubi disappear, and everyone else knows that. Forbidding people from talking about the Kyuubi might protect Naruto to some extent, but it won't make people forget that the Kyuubi is still inside of him, nor stopping them from seeing Naruto as a bomb ready to go off at any moment. Even if that's true, how can Naruto have a normal life then? Let's face the fact. Such thing is impossible. Naruto won't have a normal life. No matter what we do, he won't have a normal life. Tsunade interacted. Both Jiraiya and Saradabi turned at her in surprise. Now that's a big bad thing, though normally doesn't have to mean happy. Jiraiya and I will ensure that Naruto's childhood is as fulfilling as possible. Thanks for backing me up, Hime. Jiraiya said with a smile at her. I'm just starting to state the truth, that's all. But if his generation grows up knowing that Naruto carries the demon fox, it might alter their perception of him and will judge him unfairly. It will be nearly impossible for him to make friends. That's what I fear. Saradabi interjected once again. Tell me, Sensei, do you think anybody would let their children near Naruto knowing what he has inside of him, what he is holding inside? At the very least, with all the facts, the children will be able to judge Naruto by themselves, and if they unable to differentiate between their prisoner and its jailer, then they aren't worth his time. Jiraiya said. You seem very sure of yourself, Jiraiya. Are you sure this won't backfire? I would be lying if I said I was 100% sure, but I do believe that this is the best option we have. Let's have faith that the new generation will accept Naruto and not judge him unfairly. You always drill into your students' heads the importance of protecting the next generation. If we protect them, then we can place some trust in them, right? Saradabi spent a few moments in silence, pondering Jiraiya's words. A smile slowly crept on his wrinkled face, and soon the old ninja was laughing, much to his students' bemusement, to think that I just had one of my teachings used against me. Yeah, guess that you proved your point, Jiraiya. There will be no special laws regarding Naruto. You will be tasked with his protection and well-being, and we'll have faith that Naruto will be accepted amongst his peers, regardless of his burden. Saradabi said, There's one more thing I'd like to talk about, even if I can guess your answer. Is there a chance that you may rejoin Konoha Ninja's rank? Besides getting back two of the most powerful ninja Konoha ever produced, Hiruzen was hoping that the return of the sun would help boost the incredibly low morale of Konoha citizens. Sorry, but no. I came back here to take care of my only blood family left, not to be a killer and relieve painful memories. Tsunade firmly stated. I'm with her. I left the ninja life behind me. I'm a writer now. We will get involved with Naruto's training once he's old enough. He was about to add, should Naruto choose to be a ninja. But for somebody like Naruto, that wasn't a choice. He had to be a ninja for his own sake. Sanin hoped they could convince him to take the other path. But think in all the good you could do. Konoha is in its darkest hours. I'll ask you to reconsider. Please, Saradabi said, almost begging. He knew that if he passed this opportunity, he had never had the chance to convince them to go back to being ninjas again. Here's my counter proposal. I'll take a job at the Konoha's hospital, and I'm willing to even train future medic nins, but I'm never going to back on a battlefield. Tsunade said. Hiruzen seemed to agree with her terms. He turned to Jiraiya. Now that Tsunade made a concession, you'll have to do one as well. If there is a mission that absolutely nobody else can do, you can call me. Wazito says offer. Also, my spy network is at your service at all times. Good to see that I can count on both of you, even if it is on such terms. Even if it is a tragic circumstance that made your return, I'm glad to have you two back in Konoha. Saradabi said in a heartfelt manner. Then it's settled. When do we start? And when do we move in? Tsunade asked impatiently. 3 weeks later now. Neither Jiraiya nor Tsunade had much luggage due to the both of them being wanderers and hoped that they could move to a house to begin their new life. However, it took Naruto's new family some time before they could be settled in. With Minato's money, they bought a remodeled, a 2-story house with a yard that had been damaged during the Kyuubi attack. It needed a lot of work before they could live on it, such as giving the front paint job, replace broken glasses, fix the plumbing and the electricity, and move out the previous occupants' possessions, who had sadly died during the QB's attack and were given to their closest relatives. While they were worked on the house, they were forced to live on an improvised shelter for other people who also lost their homes to the QB. Still, after the weeks of the hard work, they were ready to move in. Jiraiya had called dibs on setting up Naruto's bedroom. Despite Tsunade's very loud protest, in the end she had relented and allowed the Tosei to have his way. The fact that he locked the door and didn't allow anyone near it or enter it until he was done was enough to raise an alarm on the blonde's head. As Jiraiya was getting ready to show Tsunade and Shizune in Naruto's room, Tsunade could help but feel a feeling of overwhelming regret. Alright, here it is, Jiraiya said as he opened the door. Tsunade braced herself for the worst. What do you think? Tsunade had to admit that it wasn't as bad as she had expected. The originally white walls were now decorated with mural of beautiful forest and mountains, with smiling toads on the sides of them. There was a toad-chapped crib on a corner with a few stuffed toads on it, a desk and an empty wardrobe with toads carved on its doors. While I find the amount of toads excessive, at the very least you had done not a bad job, if I say so myself. At least there is not a half-naked girl poster in here, Tsunade said in approval. Oh, those will come when he gets older, Jiraiya said, and he was suddenly hit by a wave of killing intent coming from Tsunade and her ward. Of course not. I know I can be a pervert, but I don't know that there are some things not appropriate for children. Come on, Hime. Good to hear, Jiraiya. Good to hear indeed. They had to spend the rest of the days buying food, clothes, especially for Naruto, diapers, and other baby stuff. By the time they were finished, it was nighttime, and the three of them were exhausted. Tsunade placed Naruto on his crib and went to sleep alongside Jiraiya and Shizune. While it took no time for Shizune and Tsunade to fall asleep, Jiraiya remained awoken. He had asked the same question time to time. Would have been any different if I was in the village when the QB attacked? Based on the details Naruto had been willing to share of that tragic night, Jiraiya's mind went over and over with the possible scenarios of how that night he could prevent and help at the last hours. So maybe, just maybe, Naruto's parents could have survived that attack. Stop doing that, Jiraiya. You couldn't know something like that would have happened. The only thing you can do now is take care of Naruto the best of your ability, the Sanin told himself. He then got up and quietly went to Naruto's bedroom, making sure he didn't make any noise that could awoke the others, 3 people living under the roof. Jiraiya leaned on the crib and looked at the infant laying there. Hey there, little guy. How are you doing? Jiraiya said in a whisper. Naruto shifted in his sleep seat. Don't worry, I know that you had to go through a lot, but the night time and the nightmare is already over. Tsunade, Hime and I are here to take care of you, and we'll make sure that everything will be fine. Jiraiya continued to look at the sleeping baby. Can I tell you a secret? Don't tell Tsunade or Shizune, because they would get mad, really mad if they knew. But I have plans for you, great plans. Once I'm done with you, you'll be the biggest pervert Konoha has ever seen. I will teach you everything I know, so no girl will be able to resist your charms. You will become the legendary, only second to yours truly here, obviously. Oh yeah, you'll be a great ninja too. I guess that's important as well, huh? It has been 6 months after the QB's attack. Jiraiya and Tsunade were both exceptional ninjas, the kind that they only appeared once every few generations. They both graduated the academy at an age most kids still can't tie their shoelaces, made chunis before hitting puberty, and managed to become jonin before becoming 16. From that point onwards, the two Sanins and their fallen teammate Orochimaru took a myriad of dangerous missions. If there was a task with a high chance of dying, they would do it without receiving a single scratch. If there was a mission that appeared to be impossible, they made it look as if it could be done by a mere genin. They never stopped to better themselves and improving in every area of skills. Jiraiya became a seal master, a renowned one as well, and one of the few senjutsu practitioners alive. Tsunade became one of the best medical ninja the world has ever seen or knew, and both of them became incredibly powerful ninjas, overshadowing by a few and admired by many. Still, despite all the skills they had learned and honed over their lifespans, nothing could compare and prepare them for that horror that it was to take care of a baby. Naruto used to cry a lot, often for no reason, but at complete random times as well. He had to be watched constantly, or else he would somehow disappear, only to mysteriously appear outside the house. He would try to grab anything within his short reach, and more often than not, he would try to eat it. One of the few things that would calm Naruto whenever he had a crying fit was Tsunade holding him against her chest. Jiraiya had joked that Tsunade's knockers would of course have a soothing effect on every man, not mattering the age. Yet it turned out to be more than a joke when the Slug Princess breastfed Naruto and the little Jinchuriki just wouldn't let go of her breast. The fact that the baby was positively elated whenever Tsunade started to undo her blouse wasn't a good sign at all. This is bad. You're not even a year old, yet Jiraiya is already rubbing off on you, Tsunade said after the first time it happened. Or then again, it could be something else, since Naruto's stomach was a bottomless pit as well. He would eat a lot and would never be satisfied. He always wanted more, and whenever his food was denied, he would go into a crying fit. Everybody wondered, where the hell is this little body storing all that food? On the bright side, Naruto was at least easy to feed, if a bit costly. Today was one of the Tsunade's 2 days off after a rather long shift on the hospital. She would have spent the day sleeping, but neither Jiraiya nor Shizune were there, so she had to watch over Naruto, who just had calmed down from one of his random crying fits. She sighed in relief when she heard the man door opened. "Tsunade-sama, I'm back," said Shizune's voice as she entered the door. Shizune was wearing a green flaked vest, common amongst the Konoha chunin and jonin over her usual clothing, a forehead protector wrapped around her head. Unlike Tsunade and Jiraiya, Shizune showed interest in joining the Konoha ninja ranks. Shikaku Nara, Konoha's current jonin commander, alongside other jonin, tested her abilities to determine her rank, and they decided she was good enough to be a chunin. Plus, she was a good medic, something Konoha was desperately in need of. Everybody hoped that Tsunade's presence in the village would solve the issue. Good, because I need to go buy some baby food. I was about to go myself, but you know how Naruto gets when we go out, and he's hungry, the blonde woman replied. What? And what happened with all the baby food that I bought before I left for the mission? She asked incredulously. Tsunade stared at her in a way that said, "Do you really need to ask?" Without further ado, the younger woman nodded and went to buy the much-needed food. Tsunade wondered what was Jiraiya doing, given that the Toho sage rarely left the house. Tsunade had forbidden him from doing any research anymore, meaning that he could only use his imaginations to write his erotic novels if he wanted to. She was hoping that he would take care of the baby while she had a much-needed nap as well. But unfortunately for the legendary Sakura, an Anbu appeared claiming that the Hokage requested Jiraiya's presence. Of course, such a convenient timing. It seemed that fate was conspiring against her. Meanwhile, in the Hyuga compound, a toddler sneezed. Link break. You know, Sensei, I wasn't expecting that you would call me into action so soon. Are you sure that this mission is something no other ninja but me can do? The Toad Sage asked, a bit skeptical. Once the old Hokage activated the privacy seals, he answered, Yes, indeed. You're the best information gathering this village has ever seen. If somebody can unfold this mystery, it's you probably. Let me guess, you think that the QB escaping Kushina wasn't an accident? Jiraiya ventured the task, because we all know that it was something that could happen. Yes, we set the proper measures, but no. That's not why we came to the conclusion that there was someone behind the attack. Enlighten me then. After the QB had been contained, we recovered the bodies of my wife, Biwaku, who was the midwife during the delivery, as well as a few other Anbu that was stationed to make sure nothing happened. The autopsy revealed wounds inflicted by ninja weapons. Shouldn't you have told me about this earlier? Much earlier? Trey asked. Maybe, but I didn't want you to be called in action so soon. You see, there has been another investigation going on during these past months, carried out by Danzo and the branch of Anbu of his. Sheriff frowned upon hearing the name. Danzo was one of the being of extremists, often inducted orphans to bolster his organization's ranks, was an open critic of Sarutobi's conciliatory efforts with other villages, and never bothered to hide that he wanted to be Hokage more than anything. Fortunately, he never had enough support to achieve such ambition. I see. Did they find something? If Jiraiya was asking this, he knew there would be two possible answers. They would found either nothing or they found something that Sarutobi didn't like and wanted a second opinion. The superpowered prayed for the former, but just like with Tsunade, fate felt like compromising against the Sanin as well. Yes, Sarutobi said, sighing. Danzo and I had been discussing the events of the night. According to many witnesses, he interrogated. It's not like the QB simply broke through our walls. It suddenly appeared in the middle of the village, coming out of a cloud of smoke. That sounds awfully similar to the summoning jutsu that we often use, Jiraiya pointed out. Indeed it is, but then again, summoning the QB? The only person I can think of being able to pull something like this is Madara Uchiha, and he had been dead for decades. Maybe he had an apprentice or someone he trained on how to tame the tail beasts. It sounds rather far-fetched. We all know that Madara left the village alone and tried to attack it alone. He never married nor had any of the children. He could avenge his death. Anyway, Danzo decided that Madara was a good starting point. He made some interesting discoveries beside Hashirama Sensei. Madara also had a way to control the tail beast. We believe it was the Sharingan. You see, Madara's Sharingan wasn't normal. Apparently, he managed to evoke a higher level of Sharingan that gathered him extraordinary new powers. So, Madara was an unbelievably powerful ninja who had plenty of unique abilities, just like Hashirama. That doesn't mean said abilities can be replaced and replicated by these clansmen of his, just like how Hashirama descendants did not inherit the word release. The thing is, they can be replicated. You see, this new Sharingan, named Mangekyo Sharingan, is an ability every Uchiha can attain, but very few does because of its high price. If what Danzo uncovered is accurate, the prerequisites to awaken the Mangekyo Sharingan of this is to murder with your own hand someone close to you or you love. The Uchiha might be a bit too battle eager, but not even them would go for so far just to get some power. But Danzo believes that one of them did. Yes, even if that's true, what was the point of throwing the village into such chaos by unleashing QB on it? What did this person would have gained? Wait, please tell me Danzo doesn't believe that whole clan was behind the attack. Sadly, Jiraiya, he does. Stupid one-eyed zealot, Jiraiya muttered. This made the Toad Sanin feel grateful for not having Danzo as the Hokage, or else the situation could have been much worse. That's stupid on every level, I know. That's why he ordered the Uchiha to stay in the rear and help the civilian evacuation. He didn't want any Uchiha to be near the QB. Of course, a thief believes everybody steals. Jiraiya said he had no doubt that what Danzo would do if he had the power to tame the beast. You have to stop Danzo. The Uchiha are already cranky as they are, without him poking them with a stick. That's why I called you here, Jiraiya. The only way I can stop Danzo is with enough tangible evidence that discredited his own investigation, and I can't think in anybody better than you to gather said evidence. While I'm flattered that you think highly of my skills, I'm not omniscient. This will take quite some time, you know. I know. While you're working, I'll make sure to keep Danzo on a tight leash for best of my abilities. Alright then, Jiraiya said as he headed for the door. Oh, and one more thing, Jiraiya. Do you realize that if I work on this, it will cut into my writing time? Meanwhile, that I will take much longer to finish the next Itachi book, right? Sarutobi gasped in shock, his eyes opened with wide horror. But said horror was short-lived, and his face was relaxed. A sad smile formed in his mouth. Sometimes we have to make sacrifices for the greater good, Jiraiya, regardless of how painful they may be. Link break. Shizune was in a mart close to her home, carrying out Tsunade's requests. After finding Naruto's favorite brand of baby food, she decided to buy all of it in one go to save further trips. Though she couldn't help but wonder how long it would last. We need to teach the kid the meaning of the word moderation. Excuse me, miss, a voice behind Shizune said. The black-haired Konoichi turned around and saw a boy looking at her. The boy would be about 5 or 6 years old. He had dull black, long enough to be styled in a ponytail, deep black eyes, and wore a black shirt, black pants, and blue sandals. He appeared to be an Uchiha. Yes, can I help you? Shizune said, putting up a best smile on her face. Do you really need all that baby food? I like some too, if it's not asking much. There's more baby food left here. Yes, but that's the only brand my brother will eat without throwing a tantrum, the black-haired boy said. Oh, I can totally relate to that, Shizune said, giggling. Guess that I wasn't too nice of me to take all of it. Like that. How many would you want? Two would be enough, please. Shizune complied and gave 2 jars of baby food to the boy. There you go. Thank you, miss. My name is Shizune, by the way. Itachi. Itachi Uchiha, the boy said, confirming Shizune's guess. Nice to meet you, Itachi-kun. Your brother is lucky to have such a nice and caring brother for him. Itachi blushed a little. Thanks, miss. Both of them headed to the cashier. Itachi decided to keep talking. You know, that baby of yours must be really big if he eats that much, Itachi commented, looking at Tsunade's basket, loaded with jars of baby food. That's the funniest thing, he is so little. Tsunade-sama said that one day she's going to find where all the food he eats goes because he's always hungry and never gets fat. Tsunade-sama, Itachi repeated. The realization suddenly dawned on him. Wait a minute, that baby of yours, is the kid with the demon fox seal inside of him? Shizune's bright mood suddenly darkened and pondered if he should answer him. But then again, most of the village already knew her, so what's the point of lying? Yes, he is. And how is he? Tachi asked with genuine curiosity. What do you mean? Does he have something that makes him different from other babies? Nothing that I have noticed. Trust me, deep down he's like everybody else. My parents didn't say anything, but I heard many grown-up men saying that he's dangerous and that we should stay far away from him. That's nonsense. Naruto's a normal kid, like any other. Just because he has a demon seal inside of him doesn't make him any dangerous. The seal that Fort placed on him will make sure that Kyuubi won't see the daylight in a long time. Then why did they bring Jiraiya-sama and Tsunade-sama back to care for him? Shina didn't like the course the conversation was taking. What do you mean by bring? They say that the Hokage had to recall the 2 legendary Sannin to keep the demon fox under watch and make sure he doesn't try to destroy Konoha again. Shizune was livid. Where did that rumor came from? Wasn't people aware of Jiraiya being the kid's godfather and Tsunade-sama being his only blood relative alive? It was obvious that neither Tsunade-sama or Jiraiya-sama had heard of this rumor, or else they would have done something. She remembered the first time she decided to take a walk with carrying Naruto in the stroller. The people shouted at her to get away from them, that she was putting them in danger by taking that thing out of its cage. At first, she tried to ignore them and go elsewhere, but whenever he went, the treatment she got was the same. How could they be afraid of such an innocent creature? The next time she went on a walk with Naruto, Tsunade went with them as well, and they got the same treatment. The moment they placed a foot on another street, it was a fatal mistake. Only Shizune please stopped Tsunade from leveling the entire district. Still, quite a few people had to be hospitalized though. From that day onwards, the verbal abuse stopped, but things didn't change much about that time. Whenever Shizune would walk with Naruto, people would simply return to their homes or leave the streets until she had her ward far enough. Some people muttered under their breaths words the medic in training couldn't hear but could guess. They also shot her cold stares. She feared that Naruto would have a hard time making friends, but then again this was a new scenario for her. While she already knew what most adults thought about Naruto, she was now taking to her children with no visible parent present. It was a golden opportunity not only to learn about anything children would think of Naruto, but to erase whatever prejudices were implanted inside his young mind. Let me tell you, that's a lie. Tsunade-sama and Jiraiya-sama are taking care of Naruto because both of them had strong ties with their parents. If that wasn't the case, then Naruto would have been an orphanage or under the care of any foster family. He doesn't need to be under watch, like I told you before. The 4th seal will make sure the Kyuubi never returns. Itachi's expression didn't change. I see. Then if you live with him, you're not afraid that the Kyuubi won't be back. Then I shouldn't be afraid either. Exactly. I'm so glad that you understand. Shizune said, elated. Maybe there was hope in this world left. Mainly for this village. After praying for the food, Shizune and Itachi went their separate ways. Goodbye, Shizune-san. It was nice to meet you. Felix Mutual, Itachi-kun. Farewell. I hope we meet again sometime soon, Shizune said, and left. That Itachi looked like a really nice kid and smart kid though. Too bad he was too old to be Naruto's playmate. If only Naruto could meet some kids like him, then maybe she won't have to worry about him growing up without friends. Nevertheless, that possibility felt more plausible now. Maybe Jiraiya-sama was right about trusting the next generation. Link break. Tsunade was already regretting spending the afternoon napping since one night arrived, she was too rested to fall asleep. She constantly shifted in her bed, trying to get into a comfortable position, fluffed her pillow multiple times, opened the window in order to allow some fresh breeze in, closed the window once the room got too cold, opened the window again until she punched the pillow in frustration. Maybe her best friend, since she became an adult, would be of some help. She got up from the bed, put on the robe, and went to the living room. Turned out that Jiraiya was there, also woke, as well as her and Jiraiya's best friend, bottle of steak. "What are you doing here so late?" Jiraiya asked. "I could ask you the same," Tsunade retorted. "True, but I asked first." Tsunade groaned. "Okay, fine. I couldn't sleep. Thought that some steak would help. So maybe you'll pour me a cup or something. What about you?" Sarutobi Sensei tasked me with a big ass mission that's going to take years to complete, and if I fail, Konoha's relationship with the Uchiha clan may go down the drain. Jiraiya said, as he carefully poured some sake on Tsunade's cup. "I thought that you'll sleep like a log, given how overworked you've been this week. I spent all the day sleeping. So yeah, guess that I messed up my sleeping cycle now," Tsunade said as she emptied her sake cup in one go. Jiraiya refilled it without a single word before the blonde. "Do you hear that?" she asked. "Hear what?" Tsunade said, taken aback with something trying to break into their house. "I heard nothing." "Exactly. Naruto hasn't cried a single time since sunset. I think that's the first. I didn't realize of that. And here we are, unable to sleep in our first silent night, since we take care of that noisy brat. I've never been someone who appreciated irony. Oh, I do appreciate irony when it happens to somebody else. You're quite the smart girl, aren't you?" Jiraiya chuckled. "But the way he may. Can I ask you something? I'm not drunk enough for that." "Wow, shot down before I even asked. But I didn't mean that. Do you ever imagine your life turning out like this?" Tsunade wondered about the question. The answer was a definite no. Since she was young, her picture of the future was her being married to her boyfriend, Dan Kato, who would be Hokage, with her little brother Nawaki on his way to succeed him in the future. They would have at least 2 children. Tsunade would be retired from active duty and would work at a hospital, either treating the sick and wounded or helping to shape the mind of the future generation of medics. Yet fate had different plans for her. Dan and Namaki's lives were brutally cut short before her very eyes. Unable to deal with so much death around her, she decided to flee Konoha, wander aimlessly around the world. She stopped thinking about the future and focused on the present. But the few times she had thinking in the future, she could only picture herself either dying alone on an alleyway after drinking way too much, but being back in Konoha and raising a kid alongside Jiraiya. No, that never entered her mind. Hearing about the fate of Naruto's parents awoke a spark of determination within Tsunade that the Sanin thought it was long extinct. Maybe she failed to save Namaki and Dan, but she swore that she'll do anything in her best to ensure Naruto's safety. Yet something that had first appeared some sort of self-imposed atonement task turned out to be rather pleasant. Taking care of Naruto was a taxing job, but Tsunade considered it as much rewarding. And while living with Jiraiya didn't appeal to her one bit, the Toad Sage was a much nicer housemate than she had expected. In all these months, he had never broke once the rules she had set. It almost felt like the old times. "No," Tsunade finally answered. "Not that I complain. I didn't achieve much after leaving the village. I feel that I'm doing something with my life again. Guess that old monkey was right after all, huh? What about you?" Like Tsunade, Jiraiya had also dreams. He dreamed of marrying Tsunade and maybe having a couple of brats with her. They live in their huge mansion. His reputation as a writer would even surpass his reputation as a ninja. People would fawn over him, gush about his talents, and ask him to sign their books. He convinced Orochimaru to drop his evil ways and return back to Konoha. Like Tsunade, Jiraiya didn't think in the future, not even once, since he was too afraid to think about it. His life was polished by failures and very little accomplishments. So far, his life was a cycle of doing his research to write his books to earn money, then blow up the same money on alcohol and women, then starting to work on his new book. Yet here he was, living under the same roof as Tsunade without even bringing in a real relationship with her and taking care of a kid that wasn't his nor Tsunade's. It was a good thing that Jiraiya did appreciate irony. But then again, I suddenly didn't feel so afraid of thinking about the future. The thought that Tsunade and Naruto were part of it brought some comfort to his tortured mind. No, but even if it being a swinging bachelor, unchained by responsibilities such as fatherhood, was something I greatly enjoyed. Being here with you and taking care of Minato's bread is a nice change of pace, I guess. By the way, how's the new book coming along? Slower than usual. Between being back on duty and you not letting me do my research. Not gonna happen, at least as long as you want to continue living in this house and raising Naruto. I didn't say anything. No, but you were thinking about it. It was you who asked about the book, and I didn't know. You read minds now. Are you part Yamanaka as well, besides being a Senju and Uzumaki? I don't need to read minds to think what you're thinking about. You always been like this. An open book. I see. Do I make for an interesting read then? Jiraiya said with wide grin on his face. Well, when you behave properly, you certainly do. Jiraiya chuckled but didn't say anything in return. They both continued drinking until Tsunade thought about talking again. What do you think Orochimaru is doing right now? Jiraiya almost choked on his drink. Oh, come on, Hime. We were having a moment here, and you ruined it by bringing up that treacherous snake. I believe that you and I don't share the same definition of having a moment. And given that we're reflecting on our lives and future, I thought it would be fitting to talk about him. He used to be our teammate. Don't remind me. Well, for what I knew, the snake's probably cutting up the corpses of some poor bastard in vain effort to understand the nature order of the universe or bullshit like that. You know, it's kind of sad that he's the only one of us whose life is turned out the way he planned it. He doesn't seem to have any regrets over anything. Maybe if we decided to go rogue instead of legally retiring, we would be happy. Trust me, Orochimaru is everything but happy. He wanted to become Hokage, yet he got denied. And he embarked on a foolish quest of immortality that will end his disaster. Simply because the guy is too afraid to die. The only thing that stopped me from enjoying his eventual demise is all the innocent lives he's going to take with him. You know, you don't have to say that to make me feel better or to make you feel better about yourself. I'm not saying that because of that. Well, maybe a little. When you're down, seeing other people down, especially hated enemies, can be a bit of a consolation. But I know that everything I said is true. Do you think we'll see him again? I'm afraid so. I don't think he'll ever let go of the grudge against Konoha and Sensei. He'll come back for revenge, sooner or later. Maybe not now, but sometime in the future. I believe so. I'm certain of it. And when that time comes, we'll show him who's the boss. Well, that's an uplifted thought. Once again, it was you who asked, not me. Yeah, bringing up Orochimaru might not have been a very good idea. Eh? It's okay, alcohol can do things to you. Picking up which more sake do you want? I think I'll pass for the sakes tonight. Tsunade said, with a wave of her hand. Jiraiya gave her a look. Don't stare at me like that. I might like to drink, but even I know when I had enough. I think I'm going back to bed. Yeah, that's a good idea, Jiraiya said. He was expecting Tsunade misinterpreting his words and loudly say how she didn't invite him into her bed, but that comment never came. You know, I think that maybe we should do this more often, or at the very least, whenever we can't sleep. I'll have to buy more sake then. Good night, Tsunade Hime. Good night, Jiraiya. Maybe it was the alcohol, or maybe it was the heart-to-heart both Tsunade and Jiraiya was having a little time ago, and managed to fall back asleep rather quickly after getting their beds, and would have remained asleep until the next morning if it wasn't for certain somebody walking up and waking them up. Yup, Naruto was crying again. Naruto cries could be heard across the whole neighborhood. I hate that kid so much sometimes. Tsunade grumbled as she lazily got off her bed. And Jiraiya also groaned and woke up. Oh, come on, Naruto, not again. As this is where I'm going to be leaving off this part, guys. I hope you like this one. And if you do, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. And yeah, this is Apollo Uchiha, and I'm signing